What's going on, guys? Another episode of Text Talks, Text Mex. We haven't done an episode in like 2 weeks. Thank you guys for the support for the last two episodes. I'm back here with Logan over here. So today, we're escaping the whole realm of politics and all this, talk of the natural world is a good way to put it. Right now, we're talking about does morality, specifically objective morality, exist without God?
Now, by objective morality, what are some examples?
So, grab your phone for a second. Let's start off with definitions first, because if we're talking about objective, it has to be pretty indiscriminative between different people. So this has to exist without, bias of emotional responses. People, this is a fact. It does not change. So Logan here is going to pull the definitions of objective versus subjective, and then we're going to start from there. But an easy way to also put it is subjective, besides definitive terms, is Logan is handsome. A lot of people may disagree with that. I personally don't.
Pretty objective.
Objective is Logan is alive. Yeah, he's alive. Okay. Subjective is does he feel alive? I mean, I don't know. Like, it depends on how you're asking it. If it's does he feel alive? Like, is he breathing or is his heart beating? And yeah, it's objective.
Okay.
There's no emotion that can change that statement. But we say is Logan happy? That is very subjective.
Very. So I'm getting it. So objective, that's like cheating on your partner is wrong.
But that's subjective. So that's what we get into. There's a lot of things that we as society have decided as wrong or right, but it's all subjective. And subjective, I like to put, especially when it comes to humans, subject to change. Morality has changed through the past centuries and thousands of years that humans have existed. And that is a very, very difficult thing to talk about with a lot of people. So, the main point of the video, does objective morality exist without God? And both of us are Christians, we'll say that. So we follow along this book of rules that a lot of people say you can interpret it the way you want, but technically speaking, you're not supposed to interpret the Bible. There are set guidelines that you must adhere to. I'm not going to tell. Right. I'm not going to tell you right now what is right or wrong. Right now, we're sticking to this is a set of rules that these group of people that follow this book must adhere to. And some people are going to say, well, it's subjective to believe in God. If I say God is real, it's subjective. Well, right. Let's get into that. So, yes, technically speaking, it's subjective to say that, but that's without the preconceived belief that Christians usually have that God is real and it's an objective truth. With that being said, we're going to take out that one little loophole, and now we're talking about morality with or without God. It's completely subjective without religion. The religion, I like to say, gives a solid foundation of rules.
It's a solid guide as to what's wrong, what's right.
Right. But when it comes to humanity without God, that has changed through centuries.
Yeah.
Right. Because at one point, we thought having slaves were okay in the United States. At one point, even right now, many cultures believe that when it comes to physically harming your wife or anything else, that is the business of the married couple and not yours. But a lot of people will say, no, that's it's objective, you can't put harm on people. However, we're talking about different cultures around the world that change that perspective. Your perspective is your reality, and when it comes to this difficult dilemma of morality, your perspective does not equal someone else's. This country believes this is wrong, this country believes this is right. The thing that differs, though, is when we talk about a lot of religion, because if you, and people say, oh, well, I got this conversation with a guy once, Well, the Bible is subjective because it didn't stop slavery. Wait, hold on. You didn't follow the rules. That doesn't change the foundation.
And that doesn't change that it's
Right.
spoken against.
So some people may say they'll have a one-off example to degrade the entire argument of what we're talking about. And that is something that is difficult to comprehend for a lot of people, especially because a lot of this stuff, let's avoid a lot of big words sometimes because we like to avoid word salad. If you guys know what word salad means, it's when people put a lot of big fancy words and make them sound smart. We're keeping this straightly as a conversation. And back to the main point, some people may say this happened so it can't be subjective because people interpret it different ways. That is where this differs, because if you go against the rules, now you are going by your own set of morals and guidelines, because it is evident and true that slave masters took out parts of the Bible and reused a lot of verses in their own made up context, avoiding what was actually written to pursue their own selfish endeavors.
And that is what makes people say that it's subjective. People interpreting it, which is not what you're supposed to do.
Right. There's no room for interpretation on this. And that is what a lot of people have a very, very hard time grasping. And a lot of people say, well, my God doesn't do this. Well, okay. I'm not going to say whether it's right or wrong. The thing is, you have to follow these rules. It's almost like there's rules. I'm going to dumb it down a lot to make a smaller example and hopefully it relates to the bigger idea we're talking about. School rules, uniforms. A lot of people can argue whether, oh, it's good, it's bad. The rule still stands. You wear this. That doesn't change whether it's right or wrong. And when we start to say, let's bring a statistic into it, saying that 80% of people that wear the school uniform do better in school. Okay, whatever. And then we're going to have someone that gets out of uniform or changes the uniform a little bit and says, hey, I'm using the uniform, but my grades are bad. Well, you're not a part of the original conversation, the statistic that we're talking about. You're now in your own lane. And I'm going to bring it back to religion because I don't want to say an example that may confuse some people. You follow these rules. These are objective morals that you follow. There's no arguing, well, I think God's wrong about this or God's wrong about, oh, it doesn't matter what you think. You are under this set of rules.
The commandments.
Right, and if you break them slightly, this and that, you are no longer following those rules. You are in your own lane. You are now in your own subjective realm of morals.
I definitely agree with that because that's taking it away from the otherworldly thing and making it of the world, which is we do not have the right to, or we don't have the power to govern ourselves the way that God wants us to, or that God has in plan for us. So if we try to make our own rules and try to interpret, try to change up His words,
You're just making stuff up at
you're
that
just,
point.
you're just making stuff up.
And that's what we're going to go into. Let's leave religion for a second. Pretend religion is not a thing. Morality is made up. A lot of people say, well, no, we decide this after collectively deciding that harming this, harming that. Well, no, because a lot of these rules differ way too much across the population of humanity and also through times. Not just through history, but currently right now. We have such a gap in moralities, it's starting to look like, it's hard to see if does anybody have this foundation. So there's a lot of basic ones like murder is wrong, stealing is wrong, and we have to be honest with ourselves here. a lot of these countries, you could say most, if not all these countries, these laws were originally based on religion for the most part. And we say, oh, what do you mean? Like, this country doesn't have this religion and this. There's a lot of things that you can't argue are they bad or not. So someone might say, why is murder bad? Why is murder bad? Without religion.
Without religion, because you're taking somebody away from somebody else.
And why is that bad?
Because you have no power to do that. You don't have any responsibility to do that.
But why is that bad?
Because it's bad. There's no, you can't explain it.
We're not justifying murder. This is the point that is difficult to make, but we're gonna try it. It's without religion, you can't find the wall that says right and wrong, because you can forever ask why. Why is stealing bad? You'll say you can't steal for someone else. That's not right. They work for that, but I'm starving. But you're starving too. But I'm more hungry.
Yeah.
You're also hungry.
No,
Well,
why don't you steal?
I'm more poor.
Yeah.
So there might be two groups of people. One person says, well, you have less, so it's okay for you to take if you need it. One person might say, no, you should never steal.
So without religion and without God, there's too much room for adding a gray area into everything.
That's the big thing. Without religion, the world is grayer than it could possibly be. The world is already gray enough, but without this foundation, it's everlasting gray. It's everlasting argument.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things right now too is religion only. Child pornography and child exploitation, lustful thinking is wrong. Right now, currently in the United States, we have an issue right now. People are making CP from AI. And people are arguing, oh, why is that bad? It's not hurting anybody. It's a genuine argument right now that the Supreme Court had to make a decision on.
That's an argument?
It's an actual argument, because by technicality, you're not exploiting someone right now, but realistically, using AI, a lot of these images aren't just made from nowhere. Right now we have machine learning. A lot of it is based on human inputs.
Yeah.
And so many people are using AI generation of kids and unclothing them, or someone is just trying to make the image, but regardless, it's disgusting.
Yeah, there is no God in that.
From a religious perspective, we're saying that is wrong. That is a no argument. That is lust. That is wrong. That is immoral. That is an abomination. But now we get outside of religion. It's a gray area. And it's disgusting to admit it is a gray area. Because if people can get into technicalities when it comes to law, it's all about technicalities. Is it illegal? And then people bring the argument, well, is it legal for me to think about it? That's when things get hairy. For us, from a religious perspective, absolutely not. That is wrong. You're nasty.
Black or white, that's wrong.
And of course, people can argue, well, there is some gray areas here and there. That's fine. We're talking about the core foundation of the Ten Commandments and the teachings of Jesus/God. Very specific things were said. The only time you could argue against that is a lot of the analogies that were used to teach, but that is different from the core foundation of the teachings.
Yes, I agree.
So, what's another thing that we can talk about when it comes to the gray area of morality? When there's that God, no God, what is immoral? Why do you think it's immoral?
Adultery, that's
a big one.
That is. Without religion, people would say,
doesn't matter. Go be free.
Yeah, be free.
Go get that girl. Go do what you want. Yeah. Go have fun.
But with religion,
well, there's a whole what do they call hot girl shit? Yeah. It's fascinating. And I'm gonna take a quick check at the comments, see if there's any.
I don't have the laptop today.
Oh, we have a couple comments. We got a couple people saying hi. What's up, everybody? Sorry to check the comments. What part of Texas? So actually, we're in Florida right now. I'm stationed in MacDill Air Force Base, but I was living in Hereford, Texas for a few months. My father was having some trouble getting some work, and he was able to land a job as a butcher in Hereford. And yeah, good times, good times. We actually got some good viewers. But right, so, and it's getting to a juicy conversation. So adultery, right? So from a religious perspective, it's completely wrong. There's no argument. Even thinking about it is wrong. So there doesn't really exist a gray area when it comes to adultery, because specifically said in the Bible, once a lustful thought comes into your mind that is not your wife, you have committed lust. It is an unhealthy obsession with another woman or something sexual. You are thinking of this woman that is not your beloved wife. But then we get into the conversation of humanity, right?
Yep.
So I don't want to go on too much. I want to hear your opinion on this because you don't want to brought it up.
This push, then we got.
Might speak a little
social media push. I'm coming off the sickness, so my voice ain't really too crazy right now. But it's just so glorified outside of.
No, that's fine. We could talk about being glorified all day, but the right and wrong part about it.
Yeah, they're glorifying it as it's nothing wrong. It's talked about as freedom and
right,
this and that, expressing yourself, but where is that?
Where's the line?
Where's that coming from? Yeah, where's the line?
So it's difficult to talk about because some people say, well, you can cheat on your wife if she cheated on you. Still, you can't do that in Christianity. You're permitted to divorce if that happens. That's different. But it's true. Talking about adultery, you can't do that. When it talks about, oh, you can cheat on your husband if he's not giving you what he needs, which is, a lot of people, and it has this gray area allowed for the foundation of marriage to fall apart. People, instead of trying really hard in their marriage, which I'm very blessed and lucky to have such an amazing family and wife, hitting 5 years married. I just turned, still 24 years old, so got a long time of life. But it's, anyways though, a lot of people are able to give up quickly because they give into this gray area saying, well, it's not that important to me. There's more fish in the sea is one of the biggest things you could hear that is used wrongfully. There's more fish in the sea, sure.
But you're not feeding the fish in your tank.
Right, you have one pretty little fish that you gotta take care of. You can't just drop that and go for another. That's what Christians believe. You are dedicated to your marriage, and there's only a certain amount of things that are permissible for divorce.
Exactly.
And even then, that is going back to the whole morality argument. Is someone a bad person for doing that? For like cheating on their loved one? It's subjective, right? And let's be straightforward here. At least from a Christian perspective, none of us are good people. We try our best. We make so many mistakes. We can call out people all day, but I bet if someone had a phone recording me 24/7, I get called out just as much. And it's an admittable thing for everybody. It should be admittable. But right, and I'm not gonna say it makes him a bad person. It's not up to me to make a decision. Do I think it's a bad decision to cheat on someone? Yeah. And then we go into it. Is it morally wrong to cheat?
Yes.
Yes. And then the other side of this, let's get religion out of it one more time. Depending on the context, a lot of people would say, right?
A lot of people would say that. Well, yeah, a lot of people would definitely say, depending on the context.
And let's think about it. We're both young guys. All the people that we've seen cheat on their loved ones, it's crazy. And especially from a military perspective, it is so common.
Absolutely.
Getting cheated on all the time, and people encourage it. It's not that bad. Go ahead, go have fun. Oh, she wasn't good enough for you anyways. She's probably cheating on you. It's so widespread.
Or it just happens to
right.
dust their hands off. Well, let me go right back to.
But I've had the pleasure to work with other fellow Christians, and a lot of them. And obviously, just because you're Christian doesn't make you a good person. A lot of people like to say that. It doesn't. It makes you a follower of Christ, and that's it. But anyways, but the ones I met that do try to stick to the words that they learn, they realize, hey, I can't do that. I should make this work. And I've seen that progress through my marriage also. Thick times I could have just split and went somewhere else, versus times I pushed through and made it work, and we're happier than ever.
Exactly.
And a lot of people will see me in previous situations and say, "Oh, you should have done this, you should have done that." I follow the objective law of my book. So I feel like I made the right decision because it's a yes or a no. But when it comes to other people, when you allow that larger freedom of decision, it allows for not just the gray area. Humanity, when it comes to freedom of decision, has been known to make some pretty poor decisions.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Obviously there exists unchangeable circumstances that I'm not going to judge people about, but we know a lot of people. A lot of bad decisions happen.
At least, well, I can just do it one time.
Right.
One time. I'm sure I could get away with it.
Right. And that is, I think, also a big argument for, I guess, the whole morality and everything. A lot of laws are based on Christian, teachings in America. Because America was a Christian country to begin with. That's what a lot of laws are based off of. We have God and all over our laws and history. Right now, obviously, with the decreasing Christian population, there comes the talking of, well, without God, how are you going to push this law? And I do like how some people say, well, I believe this way, but I can also justify it with, legal, like, without religion. I can provide my justification for wanting to do this without religion.
Exactly.
And a lot of people say that. So right now, with those two large populations of people that don't want to hear religion and people that do want to hear it, you have people that follow that objective rule book, or some people, and you have the other group that says there's more to this. There's more avenues we can go about this. So what's another thing besides adultery and murder that you can bring up that changes greatly when it comes to religion versus no religion?
I think laziness is another one.
Laziness, right?
Laziness.
I mean, what's something that a lot is being pushed on us now? I've been told before, hey, it's okay, you feel depressed, you could bed rot all day. No. We follow the rule book saying sloth is one of the deadly sins. You don't do that. You rest on this day after these many days of work. That is the rule that we've been taught. But when you don't have a rule book, and I think we have seen a lot of people that, I love near and dear, and I wish nothing but the best. I will not judge them. The only there does exist a problem though. A lot of these people without structure in that rule book have fallen apart. And it's a thing that people need to realize also. Humans need structure. Humans need organization. When we have a lot of these free floater people, a lot of people tend to fall into habits like substance abuse, laziness. Now we're seeing a huge skyrocket of bed rotting. People they don't have a schedule, and they're overwhelmed with the amount of decisions that they can do that they decide to do nothing.
Yeah.
But one thing that's important is doing nothing is a big decision. And let's get back to the main topic though, sloth. So, religious wise, we say sloth is wrong because you're wasting the time that God gave you.
You're not being a good steward of the resources given to you.
Now let's take God out of it. Why is being lazy bad?
Because you won't get nothing done.
You won't get nothing done. Well, what if I want to get nothing done? What if I'm depressed? I want to live my life that way.
Well
then we enter that realm of subjectiveness, and it's almost impossible to talk someone out of that. Because I've met someone before saying, well, what if I don't want to make my life better? Well,
without God, you can't even argue that one.
Right, that's up to you. Because if there is no God in this conversation, you can't really tell that person anything. Because let's be realistic here. Without this belief in faith, you're just a bunch of meatbags that have no real purpose in life besides reproduction. And if you're not reproducing, what are you doing here?
True.
And it's a hard pill to swallow, but let's take God out of it. The only purpose of mankind without God is reproduction,
Yep.
as every other species on Earth. And if you are not reproducing, what do you have for purpose? That's why we are also seeing these massive increases in depression and anxiety. People are without purpose.
They're without guidance.
Right. People don't have this set of objective guidelines to follow and help them structure their life. But, I want to relate everything back to the main topic, objective and subjective. So I don't want to go too off topic and go a million things. So now they're being met with, what's the point of all this? Without God, you can ask yourself, what's the point of being here?
And then you'll see it. It's
Right. Why should I be a good person? Why should I do this? Why should I do that?
Oh, that's why.
Right. If you follow that book of God, it's telling you should do this because of this. Everything, there's a direct reason, cause and effect for everything that you do. And the thing is to mention though too is that you'll never do enough to get into heaven. The whole thing is about following Christ. But let's get back to it. You're still told to do these things. But for a person without God, going back to their subjective reality, why should they? Why should you not be selfish?
I'm not even sure. Because subjectively, it's like a human standpoint, it's like it makes no sense. Why would I not want the most I can do?
Why would I not be like Diddy and all that? But why would I not just want to be rich and exploit people for money? Why not? If I don't believe in God, why do I just do everything bad to make my fleshly life better? Why not?
Why not?
So what? I can even play by society's rules and exploit everybody. But when you have that objective set of guidelines that you cannot break, and by objective, your emotional bias and your preconceived notions and thoughts do not change what those words say.
Exactly.
You follow those words. So we have one person A, trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong. Person B is reading what's right and what's wrong, and the things he has questions about, he asks the book. And I'm not going to tell you it's right or wrong right now. What I'm going to tell you is, right now we have an increasing population of this type of person, and we're seeing insane stuff online. Death threats, people making these bot accounts saying heinous stuff online. But what reason do they have to not do that? Right, it's subjective. What can you tell them?
The same reason they have to do it.
Alright, so like what's one more thing you could think of also?
I came up with the past few. I'm gonna let you take this one.
I'm surprised. We got a few people watching.
Few.
Yeah, we got some people saying like those crowns, those super chats.
Oh, snap.
But I want to get into something that's a little more. We can even say touchy. A little more.
Okay.
So, and it's about, I think, not touchy, but more relatable to each person. And it's something that we just talked about, selfishness, rage. So right now we have we're being taught online by all these random people, not everybody, but a large amount of people are seeing this online, that it's okay to have these emotions of rage, this and this. You can hate this person because they did this, they said this. That is not what we should do. I'm saying that because my book tells me not to hate somebody.
Crash outs.
But we have such a large population of people that hate people because of politics, how much money they have, what they believe, what color of their skin, or even like who they voted for, this and that. And like, look, everything aside, it's okay to be upset at somebody. We can have disagreements, but now we're in this world where you see all the things that the book told us not to do is happening. We have people being selfish. We have a lot of rage right now. People are pissed off and are doing the most crazy stuff online. I've had my life threatened. I've had myself threatened to be doxxed. So online, and at this point, it's making me realize there's nothing you can really do. To be honest, what can you do? You're not gonna convince these people otherwise. I still try to. I'm not saying I'm gonna stop. I still try my best to show love to people, because you just see like two sides of people just throbbing at each other. But we have the quiet guys in the middle saying like, wait, maybe both you guys are right, or maybe we shouldn't want to kill each other.
Yep, you just keep being the light.
Right.
Keep showing the love.
But I think that's just something we have so ingrained into our society right now. Is it's okay to hate, it's okay to be mad, go be violent, go be selfish, do what you want.
And if you're not, you're that's what they say.
Yeah, and it's just crazy to see.
It is.
And a lot of people don't realize too is we're okay with the exploitation of people a lot. And I think this is one of my most favorite things to speak about. We have very, very selective biases that what we get mad about, what we don't get mad about. So we have the book that says what's right or wrong. A lot of people use their political party to say what's right or wrong. A lot of people use their friends to say what's right or wrong. A lot of people go on TikTok and figure out what's right or wrong. The book tells me, hey, exploiting people is wrong. But we have one person we're okay with exploiting immigrant farmers. We're okay with exploiting people on first dates. You can take the man has to pay and you can leave. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We have people okay with exploiting the innocence of children through AI. We have people okay with exploiting fear through people through social media. So we'll have people saying, "Hey, they're gonna take your rights away. Hey, they're gonna do this," and whether it happens or not, you're exploiting people's emotions for your own benefit. The book says all that's wrong. All you guys are wrong. All this stuff is crazy.
It's like people hate each other, but they don't hate the sin.
Right, the book tells you to hate the sin, not the sinner.
Yeah.
Like I've been told heinous things to me, and a lot of people it may seem sarcastic, but like, all right, man, I hope you have a good day. A lot of people, my favorite thing that people say online, have the day you deserve. Like that's the most sarcastic BS you can tell to someone. So, yeah, like when we're getting back to it, a lot of people don't realize this subjective realm has allowed so much to flourish with the internet now. We have seen human nature online, and it's pretty crazy. Like stuff is getting crazy. Maybe it always was crazy and now it's just on display. I think that's a very good point that someone made to me a while ago, that humans have always been like that. But the book also taught us that all humans are they're born evil, they're sinners.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
what are you surprised about?
like that. Surprised? Yep. It's just that mirror being held up to our faces. Like, dang, we really do be like that. God dang.
Oh, you know what's a good one? Gluttony.
Ooh.
So we have the whole body positivity movement, and look, I don't think people are bad people because that's the one thing that as I got older I learned. I still think being that overweight is bad. Me myself, I'm trying to I'm trying to look good this summer, but when you leave, especially when we leave the military base, you see 400-pound people, 500-pound people on a regular basis. Yeah, we go on the base. That's a different story. But we're talking about this stuff. So I think there's two sides to this. One, where I see people, they call them disgusting. They say all this nasty stuff to these people, man. That's not how you help people. But we also need to not encourage this behavior. Because, I mean, at least the book tells me this overconsumption of fleshly desires. Eating all that food, drinking all this alcohol, being gluttonous, and it's affecting your health, it's going to kill you.
You hate the action,
right.
You love the person so much that you want that action as far away from them as possible.
Right. And it's something that a lot of people have trouble with talking to other people about. So, like I said, we have this group of people that are just not demonizing. It's they're just, well, I'm gonna use simple English. They're dogging on these fat people, and then sometimes it's kind of messed up, dude. I feel when I see someone that's heavily overweight, I don't really get pissed off unless they say something crazy. I don't even really get that, man. I more feel sad that, like, man, I wish I was able to help this person and get them on the right track. But some people don't want to be helped, especially people that don't follow the book because they have no reason to. It's
They're like, "Why should
subjective,
I?" Yeah.
right? They have no reason to. I can do what I want. Your opinion, I'm fat. My opinion, I'm fine. They're two different opinions, and everyone's entitled to an opinion. But the book that we follow says that is wrong.
The only judge that has any kind of credibility is
Right.
God. Yeah.
And I think that goes on to another good point too. 'Cause that's gluttony out the way. It makes sense. But there also is vanity. People that get crazy buff and they're just obsessed with themselves. That's also a sin. But we're talking about now. What was the thing you just said? I lost track.
Judgment.
Judgment, right? A lot of people say, well, it's not very Christian-like to be the judge. Well, I'm not sure what they think judging is. I don't think you're a bad person. The book says this is wrong, so I'm gonna let you know, hey, this is wrong. We can find a better way to do this.
Exactly.
Some people can go about it a bad way, and it puts a bad name on Christians. But going back to what we were talking about, like telling someone, you're telling someone with love too. But I want the same thing back to me. If I say, man, like, you've been drinking a lot, man, that's not very good of you. Like, there's so much better things you can do with your time in your life, and we'll bring God into it, this and that. I want you to tell me the same thing, like, hey, man, you need to put down that plate. You're like 300 pounds now, or hey, man, like the way you're talking to your kids, like that's not Christian. Like you're showing rage.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways. There isn't just one group of people that does things wrong. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you're doing things right either. It's this whole thing followed by this book with this guidelines. But that goes differently when we're talking about, you're judging me, when we're talking about the ungodly people, you're judging me, my opinion says that you're judging me. What can you really say? You can say, well, I'm not judging you, man. Like, I don't think you're a bad person. I just think that this is not good for you. Like, I want better for you.
Exactly.
And people can take that however way they want, where they see fit. But I digress. Like, you can't really argue too much what's right or what's wrong without God.
Exactly. Because even with us judging, it's like a part in the Bible was talking about how you're gonna judge, how you're gonna tell somebody else they have something in their eye when you have the stick in your eye.
Right.
It's just about, are you holding the mirror up to yourself as well as you're trying to help people? You know.
Right. Because you
what's
can't be
going on with yourself.
telling everybody what they need to do better when you still haven't told yourself. That also exists. I mean, we cannot deny that.
Exactly.
It comes to the duty of each other to almost not police each other, I don't want to say that, but to take care of each other. Because a lot of people say, well, I saw this one thing online where it says, well, if you love someone, you don't judge them, this and that. And someone said, well, do you lie to someone you love? And they said, well, if it makes them feel better, well, that doesn't sound very loving.
Someone you love is morally
right, but
and they're about to die.
That's the problem, though.
Are you just gonna be like, I love you, I won't tell you anything?
That's the problem, though. This book lays those rules, don't do that. But subjective reality, well, it depends, you can do this, you can do that. And at that point, you can't really argue with it. You can't argue with someone's opinion without that foundation, because they don't follow your guidelines. And it's a difficult thing to talk to people about, because you may see it as a problem, and the book says it's a problem, but they don't see it as a problem, no matter how severe it can get. But we can't deny it. We have noticed the more and more we're losing God in society, the more crazy people are getting. The more sex crazed, mentally ill, just depression. I'll throw that in with mentally ill. Vulgar behavior online, hypocrisy to the max, lying, and now that people are losing their objective reality with God, I've noticed this huge jump in people. Their new morals are from their political parties, and that becomes even more distorted now. Because where are these morals coming from? Where are these beliefs? Where are these news? And you find out maybe all of it was a lie.
Yep. All of it is a lie.
And that's the problem. People lost their identity with God. They went searching for a new one. And now it looks like society is hurting right now because of it. It's a very difficult conversation to have.
Yeah. People do need to they need to lose their identity in the world.
Right. I mean, that's kind of what happens when you become baptized. You're under new management. You are no longer under your set of rules. Whatever you believe in, this is the big part of the video too. All those things that you believed in, that you thought were right, you thought were wrong, that you thought, man, I had sex with 30 girls, that's cool, whatever, man, I only did Percocets a couple times, that's cool, whatever. You are now under new management, and God says, all that's wrong.
All of it. No matter how you felt.
Erase all of it. Nuke the whole generation. But, alright, all jokes aside, you're under this new set of objective rules. So what you believed before that you couldn't really even argue whether it was right or wrong, you just felt like it, and feelings change. But now you're under these new rules, and that's where the whole game changes. Now, if you have a question if something's right or wrong, you read the book. Let's get a time check, Logan.
It is 9:33.
Alright, I think we'll do another like 15 minutes. So what is another big aspect when it comes to subjective and objective morality? Do a quick comment check. Oh, we already been on live 42 minutes. What do you think? Like to finish it off with, we'll call this the last little bit. Finishing statements, closing statements.
Closing statements. To answer the main question,
does objective reality exist without God? Does objective morality exist without God?
No, it does not exist without God. Because, as we were saying, without God, without the Word, without the commandments, there's too much room for gray area. And us as humans, we take advantage of that way too much. And it's just in our nature.
Right, there's argument.
Always try to find gray areas with everything.
That's the thing that I'll agree that we'll close off with. Subjective morality is what we have without God. Everyone has their opinion, what they think is right or wrong, or how much of it is right or wrong. Because we don't live in an absolute society. Everything is, every single crime goes to court. Every single decision is made amongst people. Everything is a gray area. Almost everything. When it comes to God, it's a yes or a no for a lot of things. For most of it especially. There's very few things I can list that are subjective in that book I can even think of right now. These are the rules that are laid down. This is the foundation. If you have a question, you read this book. And that's something that it is what it is at that point. I'm not going to tell you guys again whether it's right or wrong, because that's would make it subjective at that point. This is the rule book. It says do this. You don't argue with it. And that is what makes it objective. It doesn't change with your bias or your emotional response to it or whoever reads it. If someone changes it, it is no longer the word. The original word was the objective morality that existed. And that's something that I think we'll finish off with. Yes, without the Bible, there is no objective morality. Because everyone changes. Society changes, subject to change. This text, you could leave the argument saying, oh, it's been translated, this and this. the original message still remains. The biggest rules still remain. Those rules haven't changed, and it's a yes or no. It's a lot of it is black and white.
In the Bible, from the beginning, wrong was wrong. There wasn't anything in the version changes that had one thing being wrong in this.
Oh yeah, a
version
lot of it
than
you,
in the
you
other
weren't forgiven. You had to sacrifice goats.
version. Yep. Just there wasn't anything that in this version it said it's wrong, but in this version it says it's right. There's no flip flopping. There's no gray areas. There's no
Yes or no.
yes.
There's no room for arguments. But if anybody has any other opinions or comments, you're welcome to put them down. We can talk about the next video. The next video, I'm thinking we'll talk about something a little different. But I hope you guys enjoyed the
financial for
little financial.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
We'll probably talk about something like that. But thank you guys for watching. This is Tex-Mex and Logan. Any other suggestions for other future episodes, leave it in the comments. We're trying to keep these episodes from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. This will be uploaded on live and then re-uploaded to my videos so it could pop up on feeds. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the guys who subscribed. Thank you for the top comments and the top likers that we saw. And thank you guys all for watching. You guys have a great one. This is the end of the episode. God, morality. So, objective morality does not exist without God. You guys take care. Have a good night.